If your needle is
Hey, what's up? It's Comic95. So for today's little story time, which I haven't done one of these in a long time, I am going to talk about something that was both embarrassing and upsetting to me. So as the title says, I was fired in Japan. And honestly, it hurt. And that's actually a big push factor or big reason why I'm here in Kansai right now in the first place. But I will start off the video talking about the positive things. So if it wasn't for me getting fired, I wouldn't have gotten the motivation to upload more videos. I wouldn't have been able to spend so much close time with my boyfriend. I got to know him so much better. I got to see him off to go overseas to Vietnam, where he is right now. I got an amazing job, technically two, but it's one job. So many opportunities that I wouldn't have had. I got to meet new people, I had new experiences, I got to try new food. I learned about new food that was right at the convenience store that I'd never tried before. I wasn't really a big fan of bentos. I like to cook food myself. So long story short, I have a job now. I had to pray about it. I had to talk to my mom. I had to forgive. I had to let go of the anger that I felt, but I still want to again do a story time and just talk about the truth as to what happened. And I like trying to see things from both sides and both perspectives. So again, I am not angry at anyone anymore. I have prayed about it. I have a new job now. I'm no longer really bitter or hurt, but I still want to get my story out there for you guys to hear, as well as to help myself in the process of letting go. So anyway, when I was in Tokyo, right before I left, I was really in desperate need and in search of a job. I was no longer getting financial aid from my school. I was no longer going to Lakeland University, and I, just really, really needed to figure out what to do in the meantime. So I wasn't planning on staying at this place forever, but I was looking for a, place in which my blackness would hopefully help land me a job easily, as I lack Japanese skills. Long story short, I came across, but I didn't have the intention in actually working there. I had planned to have my birthday meal there with my boyfriend, who had never had, and also who was unaware or unfamiliar with. It interested me because I really had a taste for barbecue, and other things on the menu looked appetizing as well. Fast forward, I applied for the job. I was quickly interviewed and got the job. So, upon actually working there though, everything started to go downhill. So they became very critical of my work performance. They felt like I wasn't friendly, that I was kind of not the picture, that I was a little bit out of it. I wasn't a drinker like them. I wasn't really into a lot of things that they were, and it was very strange. So the place was very slow. They don't have a lot of business. They don't have a lot of customers. They don't have a lot of regulars, although in their mind they like to believe that they do. There wasn't normally much to do, and as most crap jobs that don't pay anything, they constantly have the mindset where they want you to stay, keep, and pretend like you're busy. Well, this is one of those jobs where there's so many people working and there's so little to do that you eventually get to the point where there is nothing to do. But of course, I was always singled out, and both my coworkers and management, if you will, the two owners, would get upset about me not really working in both a passive-aggressive, nonchalant way and sometimes just straight out there. So I'll tell you a few things. Like a lot of jobs, I guess they tend to forget who trained you and what you were and were not taught. There was a time in which several times in fact, in which I would say things like, hey, we're out of gloves, or hey, there's no sponges, like get someone get some sponges. And instead of people saying, oh, I'll go get sponges, or oh, thanks for telling me, instead I was met with anger. Well, then why don't you go get some sponges? Well, I'm sorry that it didn't cross my mind that I can just dig my hands into the register and grab money and run across the street to go get these things. Normally, to my understanding, or one of the leaders, senpai, whatever you want to call them, will let someone know, like, hey, I need you to go to the store, get XYZ, whatever. And I was new. So of course, I didn't hesitate. Okay, you trust me to go get that? I hope I can find it. I'm not familiar with this store. Off subject, I'm gonna go back and forth to some things. I know I'm forgetting stuff. There was another situation in which I vividly remember. This happened right before they finally fired me or let me go, as they want to, I guess, try to make it seem. I commented on the fact that there were no new sponges, that all the sponges that we had were very dirty. I looked in the spot in which sponges were supposed to be, because I remember getting yelled at before when I asked about clean sponges. Well, I was told, look under the counter. Like, why are you asking me? I don't know what's back there. I'm not working here. And I really hate when people do that type of stuff. It's like, this is your restaurant, your place. You know what you do and don't have. You guys keep track of your receipts, and you're back here constantly as well. So you are aware of what we do and do not have. And if not, you don't have to be rude and disrespectful to me, just like how you wouldn't be to your customers. Long story short, she, as well as, I won't say my coworkers, them specifically, her, wanted to convince me that they have a policy in which they throw away their sponges after a couple of days, which, for starts, I have never been told this during my training. None of my coworkers apparently know this, and it was not practice. I worked there every weekend, and I would see the exact same sponges from when I had replaced them weeks ago. I'm not exaggerating. And how do I know this? Because I am OCD. I keep track of what color sponges I have. And it is very unlikely that somebody went to the store, got the exact same color sponges that I had, and chose the exact sponges that I chose to put out, for that every other day type time. You know what I mean? Like, you can just keep track of what sponge you had. I sound crazy. Long story short, that was a lie, and that was not happening. They were not replacing or changing the sponges every couple of days. And even when I would comment on the fact that how the sponges were dirty or that we needed new sponges, my coworkers kind of seemed like, just use the sponge there. It's still physically working. What the hell is wrong with you? And to go on to the dirtiness of this restaurant, before I forget, I took a picture of the sponge. Now, I shouldn't have done this, and my flash accidentally went off. Bad timing. I believe my coworker, a girl that was half black, or half African, half Japanese, she snitched and told management, I'm pretty sure. Although, of course, they're probably going to claim that they saw the flash or that they saw it themselves. I'm 90% sure she told, because she was walking by when this happened. Even if she didn't, my point is, as soon as they saw that happen, later on in the day, she apologized to me and basically said, if we don't have sponges, just go get them. Like, you don't have to tell me, blah, blah, blah. And I handled it in a very Japanese way, or really as my mother raised me, which is, to indirectly suggest. I didn't say, the sponges here are so nasty, like, replace them. I'm going to tell the whole world. I simply said, hey, we need some new sponges, or can someone go get some sponges? I don't remember my exact words, but I said it nicely, and it was suggestive. Instead of it being met with, oh, okay, I didn't know, or all right, I was met with anger and convinced, or, they tried to throw in my face, like, oh no, we replaced these sponges. Like, we replace them every other day. Like, it's our policy. Like, your policy is not being carried out by you or your employees. Bullshit. So, long story short, she made up this whole little scenario in her head, in which she did a little, I forgot what they wanted to call it. After I had been there for a month, they were going to do an overview of my working there, a recap, and basically decide whether to keep me and make me permanent or not. And while they didn't really directly say whether they were or were not, they allowed me to still work after this date, which to me said that my job had been locked in. Now, I was a little bit stupid for taking this risky photo, but despite what they thought, and I still haven't to this day, but now I'm going to change my mind and post it, I did not share that photo of the sponges. My goal in taking it was actually not to share with the world. I was going to text it to my mom, because I was mad, and I was going to say, look, Mom, look at how nasty these sponges are. And they're claiming that they replace them, every 2 days or whatever. This is the same sponge that I put there after Thanksgiving. I remember that sponge. And in fact, there were more than one sponge. It was about 2 or 3 of them that were still there when I had replaced them. And they had this policy, like most places do. They want us to clean and organize, put together the bathrooms every morning, so that, not every morning, before the shift starts in the evening, because they're only open in the evening because their business is so slow. They do not have soap. No soap in the bathroom. Very common in Japan though. In fact, it was so unnecessary to them, this restaurant that claims to be clean, my co-workers with an S really, specifically the half black, half Japanese girl whose name I forgot. It starts with an I think. I don't remember. Long story short, she basically laughed it off and was like, oh, like nobody ever really uses it. And I'm like, okay. So we're taking out garbage, in which there's rats out in the back too. And we're coming back in, nobody washes their hands, and yet we're touching waffles straight off of, the little waffle grill thing and doing all kind of stuff. Now, the chick that's working at the little chop station or whatever, she normally wears gloves. But the rest of the people there do not normally wear gloves. And even for her, there's moments where you're not wearing gloves or you could forget, and, the list goes on. Basically, long story short, the utensils back there are not clean. People do not wash their hands, and there's no soap. And they don't like using new sponges. This is not to say that other restaurants are any cleaner. And then I also didn't like that whenever something would go wrong, instead of just admitting that they were wrong about stuff, they had this whole little, talk you out of believing that they're wrong, or talk you into believing that their restaurant is the greatest. So customers oftentimes don't finish their mac and cheese here or their ribs. And I was wondering why. I was like, maybe because it tastes weird to Japanese people. Well, I tried it and honestly the two suck. It, I guess, is maybe the best you can get for it to be Japan. I know they're limited on what ingredients you can use, but it doesn't taste good. The chicken and waffles are soggy, as people were complaining, but to be honest, it's my first experience ever having it, and for me it actually did taste good. I would not take my word back on that. I enjoyed the chicken and waffles, especially the ultimate chicken and waffles. I also like spicy food, but even although I did, they could lay off on the spiciness a little bit, and oftentimes when customers would get the spicy chicken and waffle, or hot as they call it, they normally do not finish because it's flooded in hot sauce, like so much where you can't taste it. So again, they have in their mind, oh, it's just too hot for you because you don't like spicy food. It's like, no, maybe you should change your recipe because you guys are fucking it up. But again, that's another story. So now that I've ranted on and on about all of this, let me get to the point that I want to actually talk about. And I might actually put a little reminder at the beginning of the video to let you know where the part gets good. They fired me right before the day that I asked to have off, which was my birthday, Christmas, and New Year, without any warning. And on top of that, they screwed me over because my last day of work, I bought over $100 worth of food without any employee discount. And they acted like they were bending over and breaking their backs for me by giving me a student discount, which basically just exempted me from taxes. And to justify myself once more, I would not have bought all this stuff if they told me that I wasn't going to get a discount. So long story short, I had asked if I could order some food. And I asked right after my payday, and right after I had just moved into a new share house, in which I had a hard time doing, and I had to come to my job during a time that I had asked to be off because I needed to pick up the money from there to pay my friend who was giving me a ride to move and to pay this apartment. Well, they happily gave that to me, or shall I say not so happily. Took their time, dragged their feet to do it, but they still gave it to me, and I was grateful to have the job to be able to move. Well, them knowing that I left my place and that I really had to leave, and I had a lot going on at that moment, and they knew my birthday was coming up. They knew that I asked for that day off. They told me I could have it, and they gave it to me off, alright, because they let me go. And they did it by email. They didn't even call me. They were too scary to hand me my last check. They conveniently were on vacation or not in town at the moment. And they had an older Japanese woman there. I forgot everybody's name pretty much. They had her give it to me. And this was their way of avoiding any type of confrontation with me, I believe. But it was extremely unprofessional and ungodlike for them to be a Christian company. And I was very disappointed for them to also be people of color. And I really hate to say this, not to say that, people of color can't be human too. It just really makes me upset that you can't even get good service from your own people. And that they honestly do you dirtier than, white or Asian or any other ethnicity does. So I learned a very good and hard lesson. I'm not trying to say that I was a perfect employee, but I definitely did not deserve to be let go that way. And as both me and and my mom said, you know, they're gonna have to answer to God for that, even if they thought I was a piss poor employee and that I was horrible and disrespectful and rude. One of the things they complained about was that I wasn't going out on the floor and asking people for water enough, even although I can see how much water they have from behind the counter, because the restaurant is so small, and it's kind of weird if you're constantly going to people like that. Like, even in Japanese restaurants, they do not make rounds to you every half second as soon as your glass has been drunk from. They go around every so often. I've never had somebody refill my glass 5 or 10 times, no matter how unbusy or slow the place was. And they didn't seem to understand that. In their mind, I was just being lazy. They complained about me texting on my phone, which was really stupid and funny to me because all of my coworkers did the exact same thing and would even take phone calls and leave work. I was only using my phone because I saw them doing the same thing, and I would never text or use my phone when it was actually busy or there were customers. I did it in between when I was done serving, done doing stuff, and oftentimes I would just be checking the time or an email, not necessarily texting. And once again, all of my coworkers did the same thing. But you want to know what? It's one of those, you know, it's okay for us to do it, but if you do it, you know, I was basically the scapegoat, if you will. And the ironic part is that my coworkers are the ones that were snitching on me, because when I was talked to about this by, they had even said they had never actually seen me use my phone, but that they were told. So it's like, oh please, you gotta be kidding me. And on top of that, once again, even when I would ask them for work to do, they would get upset about it. They want you to find something to do in your room. So okay, I can't make you happy. If I stand here and do nothing, you're pissed off. I ask, what do you want me to do? You tell me to piss off too. It's like, okay, what the fuck? And then, you know, I got to the point where I would just stay in the kitchen and I would wash dishes as soon as they come. Then they were like, oh, you're spending too much time in the kitchen. Well, you don't want me behind the counter because then you salmon the way. You don't want me in the kitchen because you want me to be out on the floor. What am I gonna do? Just stand on the floor and stare at people while they eat their food? Nobody likes that. It's creepy and it's weird. Another interesting thing was when they let me go, they claimed that, you know, they didn't feel like I was a good fit and claimed, oh, restaurant life isn't for everyone. Bitch, I worked at Starbucks. And excuse me, that's another thing. They constantly kept trying to refer back to the fact that Starbucks isn't a restaurant. It's like Starbucks is way more complicated than working at this shit job. For starts, you can customize your orders. Customers are more rude because they're paying more money and it's not Japan. So they don't have this whole, you know, quiet, humble Japanese type attitude towards stuff. They want their shit fast. And they claim, oh, I need to have my, you know, morning coffee. I always get this. They give special names for their orders. It's a much faster pace than the slow, dead restaurant that's barely able to stay in service or in business, whatever you want to say. So that was really annoying to me too. They complained about me not you know, saying hellos and goodbyes every time I left, which I won't lie, I could have worked on that part. But again, also didn't feel like it was really necessary either. I would say bye to the people that I saw there at the door. I never really purposefully ignored people at the beginning, but you know, I didn't feel the need to go out of my way and talk to people that don't even talk to me when they come in or during their shifts. They also like to play the little I can't hear you, ignore you game. But then if I would ignore them when they ask me to do something for them or ask for help, they act so devastated. Oh, Ren is so rude. But it was totally okay for my coworkers to pretend to not hear me when I would ask them for help or advice on something, or you know, whatever, need help with a customer. So what they claimed was, in the email that they sent me when they let me go, was that customers also said that I seemed lost and I didn't know what I was doing, blah blah blah, which I can believe that maybe a customer did say that. But also keep in mind that most of their customers are Black Americans, and this is also why their restaurant doesn't stay busy, because there aren't many of us there, and most of them are tourists or military people coming for once, you know, or twice, and they have unrealistic expectations. This is Japan, not America. In Japan, it's weird for your waiter or waitress to constantly check up on you. But one of the things that they claimed that a customer said was that I didn't really check up on them enough. And it's like, in Japan, your waiter and waitress do not come to your table. You call them when you want them or need help. So how is that even a fair way to judge my performance? Secondly, did you ask them how everyone did or just me? Because I'm doing the exact same things as my coworkers. I'm out on the floor when someone calls me. I give them their food. That's it. What else am I supposed to do? So It was a very, annoying crap thing. Again, I'm not trying to act like I was some type of star employee. I admitted that I could have been more friendly to my coworkers, but also felt like I was doing no different than what they did. They did not always speak to me, and oftentimes when I would talk, they would pretend to not hear me, ignore me, and they would always act really, really stressed. So if you asked them a question in the middle of while they're like doing anything, they would have a total meltdown. And it's like, okay, you're claiming I am not, restaurant material. I'm not ready for a restaurant job. That's you guys. I've never met restaurant owners and grown folks in their late 20s and, 30s and 40s and whatnot who get irritated and aggravated by somebody asking, a simple question or asking, anything, not even just for help. But if I would say anything to them while they're in the process of doing anything, even just pouring water, they would have a complete meltdown and be like, and it's like, okay, like, this restaurant ain't even that damn busy. There's 4 customers. Oh my God, there's only like 6 tables here. Seriously? Like, try working at Starbucks. And that was the funny part. Every single time, I would make reference to the fact that I worked at Starbucks. They would keep trying to like shoot it down and be like, oh yeah, that's Starbucks. This is a restaurant. Like, yeah, like, this is different, blah, blah, blah. The only difference was that I had to be a clown carrying a tray on my hand. Where at Starbucks, I was a clown being cursed out and told to make this, that, and the other, and given about a minute to do so. So, excuse me, I hit my stand. So, that's it. My point is that do not be fooled because a company is Christian or black owned or whatever. They will do you dirty. It doesn't matter what country you are in. The restaurant is dirty. The people that own the place are very rude and disrespectful, and they do not like listening to change. They have comments complaining about the sogginess of the waffles as well as their bad son running around the place barefoot. It is junky. They have papers, office stuff, and all kind of crap just lying around. They give the workers unnecessary work every morning by allowing their son or whatever to rip and run throughout the restaurant without a care, and they're okay with that. And they don't care about complaints. They believe their son is a mascot and that most people love him, which might be true for their regular customers, aka friends who come once a month. But it's not professional, and most people don't like this, and it's not inviting or opening people to having kids at this so-called family restaurant. Japan has family restaurants, and they do not consist of kids running around like it's a jungle. So that's that. I'm not going to bother with that. I'm very shocked at how they allow their son to behave for them to be black. They do not discipline him. I can count the times he's been semi-yelled at, but they pretty much don't spank him. They're okay with him putting his feet on the table, just doing all kind of stuff. And mind you, he's not a newborn baby, so it's gross. And if I weren't working there, I honestly would not want to eat there. The food is overpriced. They don't even give their employees a discount, and that's what I left off at. I'm sorry. They cheated me. I asked him about ordering some food a few days ago, and I wrote down what I wanted, and he conveniently pretended like he forgot about my order, and he like hid it to the side by the little bar counter that he normally stays behind because he doesn't trust people making the drinks for the most part, other than his right hand man, whatever his name was. And he tried to teach me a little bit, but like for the most part, he didn't like people making the drinks. He liked to test them because it's kind of weird. He wants to make sure the drink is perfect before it goes out. So, long story short, yeah. So I grabbed it when I came in the next day, and as I was setting up and cleaning up everything, because they purposefully leave the restaurant a mess when it's closing time so that we'll have work to get paid for the next day, which I guess I can't complain. It gives me an hour or two worth of pay. It's just 1,000 yen an hour, but or $10 US. Yeah, so I made sure that they made my stuff. I did it during the time when they weren't busy, and I think I kind of pissed off the cooking staff because there was a lot of stuff that I ordered. I probably ordered about maybe 8 different things. I got salad, ribs, mac and cheese, chicken and waffles, some other stuff, and I asked about a discount the time before, and it's like, oh, you're like, yeah, we'll see, we'll handle that, whatever. And it was basically like one of those like black code for let's not talk about it, but yeah, I got you type things. If I knew they were not going to give me a discount, I wouldn't have ordered shit. And if I did, I would have definitely just gotten the chicken and waffles and the salad. I probably wouldn't have risked getting anything else, especially considering the fact that I can get occasionally free food, especially chicken and waffles, which they oftentimes would serve to the staff on Sundays. And that was a nice perk to the job. They would normally just give you, you know, chicken and waffles on Sundays, and on the weekdays you would have some type of pasta or whatever, more than likely leftover shit from you know, work, things they were getting rid of. And it was always generally something new, and it did taste good, and it was a free meal, so no complaints as far as that goes. And the $10 an hour is more than what some other places pay, so I'm not really complaining so much about that. I just didn't like how bogus they were to me, because they knew my situation. They knew that I just moved. They saw me break down crying because of how grateful I was that, you know, they were able to pay me, give me the money that I needed to get this place. But once I moved and they realized how much it was costing me to get to and from work, they were like, look, like, that's it, like, we ain't paying for you no more. Like, we don't like that, we think you're rude, that you're a bad employee, you know, we're letting you go. And even if they wanted to let me go, that's cool. But my biggest thing is the way that they let me go without any warning, no notice, and you're gonna do it right before my birthday, right before the holidays. You should have just let me go before then. But that's why I said I know that it was, you know, that was like the icing on the cake, them having to pay more money. And I'm pretty sure it was also this idea, because it is the last person that I saw and that I spoke to. In fact, the last day that I saw him, he was busy on his phone trying to find a way for me to save money on transportation, because they didn't want to have to pay me 600 yen to get to work, because they didn't feel like I was worth that much. And that's understandable, but it's like, you know, just say that we can't cover your transportation. I would have rather had a job than been without it. And of course they'll say like, oh, that's not why we wanted to get rid of you a long time ago, we thought about it. Well, then why didn't you do it then? Why would you wait until, you know, I move? Why would you wait until I tell you how much it costs? Why would you wait this long and choose now? At least give me a warning so I could find another job. They let me go without any warning, nothing. And then they were too scared to see me. They purposely planned for me to get my check, and at a time they wouldn't be there. And then they even gave me the wrong pickup date for my check. So they really like just completely screwed me over. And again, I'm more appalled, more offended, more whatever by it, because they are African American like how I am, and they're supposed to be Christians, and they claim to have come over here as missionaries, which is a load of BS. It was an excuse to come over here, start a business, and try to get into music like most black people try to do in Japan. And you know, that's whatever. I'm not gonna judge them as far as that goes. But my thing is you know, you reap what you sow, and doing people dirty and bogus like that is going to come back to haunt you. And to be honest, I feel like they're already paying the price. The restaurant has been there for over a year. It has not picked up the pace. It's slow. Their customers were angry after the Thanksgiving and Christmas meals because of how small the food portions were. I saw it was one group of people in which one of the girls got angry at. It was a party table too, and she was complaining that, you know, the food didn't taste good and that there was too little food. She was about to break glasses. She had thumped down on the table. It was being really ratchet. But instead of them acknowledging like, oh, like maybe we should change these things, maybe, you know, we have unsatisfied customers, nope. They laughed and smiled everything off. They didn't talk about it, pretended like it never happened, and were very nonchalant. So that's how they handle, you know, their bad service. But again, I'm the bad egg. I'm the problem with their company. I can't handle it because I'm a barista. I don't know what real restaurant life is like, even although I never came to work and was huffing and puffing because somebody asked for water and I have to take out chicken and waffles too. I cannot tell you how many times I would talk to them and they would just, you know, shrug me off or just be like, like, don't you see I have a plate in my hand, like I can't answer questions, I'm so busy, there's 3 customers, oh my god, what will I ever do? And it's like, huh? Like, oh, and you guys are the restaurant professionals, right? Yeah. Anyway, my point is the food is garbage, they're not good people, and it's not just because, you know, they let me go. Even talking to them, like their conversation is just so phony and forced. They, like anything that you do, they anything that they talk about in regards to their restaurant, they just want to believe that it's perfect. They don't like hearing criticism about the food, about the service, about their son, about anything. And for them, you know, it all works out. They like having a free daycare in which the employees take care of their bad kid, who is also dirty and runs around the tables with his black feet and smudges prints on the windows. And yeah, they completely are totally cool with that. And they don't like you asking questions if you're an employee. They want you to know everything. And this is somewhat acceptable if this is America, but mind you, this is Japan, and these people are claiming to be Christian too, which is very ironic for this situation. So that's that, my long 30-minute ranty video about how I got fired. So again, it all worked out for the best. I now have a much better job. I am getting 3 times the pay that I was getting here. I now have my own apartment instead of moving into a share house. I got to spend time with my boyfriend, and we will be living together when he comes back to Japan. I'll move again into a bigger, nicer apartment. This is a temporary place I'm in right now in Osaka. I hate to badmouth them, to be honest, but actually feels very good to get this off of my chest. My goal isn't so much just to talk smack about them. I wanted to talk about my experience and about how getting fired isn't always necessarily a bad thing. It gives you a chance to grow, to learn. It was definitely a learning experience. I had never worked at a restaurant before, not a normal restaurant, and definitely not in Japan. And I got to do that here. Like I said, I did take away some positive things from it, as they tried to pretend to care about me on my way out, saying like, oh, you know, we want to be family, we want to be here for you. Oh, you want to be family, then give me back my job. So if it wasn't for my mom and my boyfriend helping me out, I would have really been screwed over, because I would have had absolutely nothing. And I literally, like, I was so devastated. I didn't even cry when I got the email and woke up to them telling me that, you know, I was fired. Oh, that's the other thing. They told me I was fired after I asked them what was the Christmas schedule, because they didn't tell me. And then they basically told me that I don't have to worry about it because we don't need you. And this is just a few days before I was supposed to have worked, right before Christmas. So I'm just like, wow, okay. So again, I mean, they let me go really, really bogus. It was not in a Christian way. They did not apologize. They don't feel sorry. And not to say that they need to or have to. This just shows their character and what kind of people they are. And again, I'm not trying to pretend like I'm some type of angel, like I didn't make mistakes. According to them, the reason why they let me go is because the customers weren't satisfied with me. They felt like I wasn't a good server. But it's like, in Japan, you're not really being a server. Your job is, well, to be a server. Your job is to bring out food, and you refill, you know, water or whatever as needed. You don't check up on people at their tables. And they might try to pretend, oh, this is what we do. No, you don't. Your staff doesn't even do that. They refill water and they stand in the back and pretend to be busy. And they don't like it when you take their pretend to be busy work, which I noticed. So for example, if you spend too much time in the kitchen, or if you spend too much time, you know, with glasses or anything else, they try to shoo you away so that they can have that corner, so that they can pretend to be busy. So it was too much bullshit with working there. I didn't like how phony you had to be with them, pretending to care about and babysit their bad kid. And it was just all kind of stuff. Like, I really didn't like that type of mindset and mentality. And then the fake and phoniness with them. I even remember them asking, you know, my customers, like, how did they think I did or whatever. And it's like, you're asking American customers who have, one, never been to Japan, and two, have never been to your restaurant. They don't know what to expect from me. In their mind, sure, I do look rude, because I'm not coming to your table every, you know, 30 seconds asking, hey, how's the food? You need napkins? Want to refill? That's not how it works here in Japan. You come to people when they ask for you, or if they appear to need help. Otherwise, that's it. My coworkers didn't even do that. And of course, knowing how they are, they're gonna claim, oh, well, this is so we do this, that, and the other. I'm not just saying this because I'm mad. The food there is garbage, and it's way overpriced. The only good things on the menu that I personally cannot talk shit about and I absolutely love was the pulled pork quesadilla, the chicken and waffles, both the regular and hot, as they call it, which is really spicy. I don't know why they just named it hot. Sounds kind of weird, ghetto. But that, and the apple Caesar salad thing. Oh my god, those three things are absolutely delicious. I can never talk shit about it. The mac and cheese, barbecue, whatever, country fried steak, the rest of that shit is garbage. It's shit, overpriced, doesn't taste good. Especially the barbecue mac and cheese, huge disappointment. The shrimp and grits is crap too. But yeah, they did me bogus. They took my money, ran off with it. I essentially gave them back a quarter of the money that they paid me on the food. And if you're wondering, like, why didn't you just not buy the food? Well, I was afraid of them firing me for wasting their time and money cooking me all of that crap. If I knew that they were gonna let me go after that day, I would have said, shit, well, if you ain't giving me a discount, you fucked yourself over, fine, and I'm not buying this stuff. But of course, nope, they played their cards right, and they bamboozled and tricked me. I just wanted to use that word. They tricked me. They waited until I bought the food. They waited until I went home. And yeah, and I think that they also kind of got pissed off too, because I asked for my receipt. to be emailed to me, which they're probably expecting me to not want that, because I don't even think he asked. So of course I want my receipt emailed to me. You just charged me over $100 and I'm your employee for food that only cost you about $20 or $30, if even that, to make. And really, it should have been given to me for free. But I was expecting at least to have like a 30 or 25% discount or something on the food I was buying. I initially bought it in the hopes that my boyfriend could try it too, because he was supposed to have come to visit me soon. But I was so pissed off. I was so shocked. I really did not see that coming. I thought they were going to fire me when they had done my evaluation, or when they had pulled me to the side and tried to be all sweet about why the sponges were dirty, and about how, oh no, I can assure you they get a change every 2 days. It's company policy. It ain't no damn company policy. They don't have new cleaning supplies. I got an old dingy dirty broom, mop, everything. And I'm not here to judge them on that. It's just if you don't have stuff, if you don't have a policy, just admit it. Why do you have to lie about everything? I hate people like that who can't just admit that they don't have rules, they don't have stuff in line. Instead, for them, it made much more sense to lie and exaggerate their situation, and the whole I don't even know what you want to call it. They lie about everything as far as their company goes. They don't like criticism. They don't want to hear it. They don't believe there's any flaws with anything. If you try to point out something, whether it's nice or rude, they have a story and an excuse for you. So that's that. Again, you can make every negative thing into a positive situation. They fired me, they let me go. I was embarrassed, I was devastated, but look at me now. I am now making way more money. I have my own apartment. I am much happier here. My life is still not perfect. I have my own flaws and problems. I did learn and grow from this job, as they foolishly tried to tell me that they hope I did, and I did. It was a nice experience, and it was also a bad one. So that's that. If you want to work there, go ahead and give it a shot, go try, whatever, but just know what you're getting yourself into. If you do choose to eat there, I only recommend eating those 3 things, because you will more than likely be disappointed. I worked there and you were constantly scraping off mac and cheese, hot chicken and waffles, which I personally still like, and the barbecue and other things like that, the biscuits and gravy. The customers always thought it was shit. People would eat it because they paid for it and it was overpriced, but it constantly went in the garbage. Even bacon. But I did like the bacon because it was like that microwavable Oscar Mayer type stuff, which I believe they got from Costco. It's very hard to find normal bacon in Japan. It's basically ham. So that's that. I'm done. This video is now 40 minutes. So sorry, very long, very lengthy. But again, it's a rant, just giving my own 2 cents, my own opinion. I know I'm gonna get attacked for doing this, especially for uploading this online, and I'm ready to take that on. So yeah, that's that. My story is done. Again, I have a job / career now. I'm doing what I want to do. I'm teaching English. My pay is much more. It was a good experience. I'm over it. I'm no longer mad at whatever or any of my coworkers from there, the snitchy girl, or the period boy, or anybody else. I'm totally fine. I'm accepting towards how dirty they did me. And to be honest, like I said, you reap what you sow. They're probably reaping it right now, and if they aren't, they're going to be doing it very soon. So let God handle your problems, the wrong that people do to you. I'm not saying because they're Christian or because they're black they can't fire me or let me go, but it's the way you do it and the reason why. And the way they did it was wrong, and the reason why they did it was not the real reason why. They wanted to let me go because they didn't feel like I was worth the money that they were gonna have to pay for a train fare, in combination with them already not liking me. It was a combination of the two. Instead, they wanted to take the pressure off themselves and say, oh, we think that, you're not ready for this life. It's too difficult for you. Customers, said these things about you. You don't seem like, you're good at providing customer service and using your phone, blah blah blah. And then she tried to suggest that she gives me the points that my coworker said as far as advice goes for helping me become a better employee. So the whole thing was just a load of crap. So that's that. Don't try to take it upon your own hands to get revenge. I thought about writing a bad review, and I might actually do that someday. But I took my mom's advice and I decided not to. Instead, I just made a video talking about my experience getting fired from them. So again, I appreciated the work experience. It helped me move. It got me technically to where I am right now. So some good did come out of it, but I'm very glad to have now moved on. And yeah, you know, they did me really bogus. I was very disappointed. I did not see that coming. So yeah. That is that. I know they're probably going to watch this and see this eventually because their restaurant has been tagged in it. So I'm done. This is my little long, very extensive story time video on my experience at working at. I am no longer there. I'm gone. I don't live in Tokyo. So yeah, I guess that's it. Please like, comment, subscribe. You can ask me questions, critique me, argue with me, whatever you decide to do. You know, I don't really care. So bye. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.